All right. So
No.
moving on to the next one. Bitcoin crashed to 8,200 on Binance.us. Now, this is insane. I'm very excited to hear some of your guys' perspective on some of this. So Binance.us suddenly printed a 1-minute candle that took Bitcoin USD pair from $65,815 down to 8,200. That's an 87% drop. Now, the scam wick on the 1-minute chart differed dramatically from other major exchanges, which logged a 1-minute candle with a flow of around 64,200. Huge change. Joe, let's go with you next because I need you to get some points here to catch on up to everybody. Should Binance users continue to trust Binance? And obviously, Binance and Binance US are two separate entities. So let's talk about Binance.us only.
Yeah, I mean, this is classic because people make mistakes all the time in crypto. And this was, well, a rather large one, right? And
Yep.
so, should, we have to ultimately, everyone needs to take responsibility for their actions. You know what I mean? Like, we can't sit here and blame Binance US or Binance or whatever because there wasn't enough liquidity or, something like this should never happen. At the end of the day, we're human beings and we do make mistakes. Some of these bigger ones obviously are the ones that you want to try to avoid, right? And this is why I said earlier on in the show, and it's been echoed here by multiple other guests, the education part is so important. And this is why we all have YouTube channels, is to teach the viewers here so you don't make these really big, massive mistakes. But I truly do believe if you do make a mistake, learn from that mistake so you don't keep making the same mistakes as well, right? Because it's one thing to make a mistake and have a little bit of a failure, okay? But don't do it again, right? So if we see in another week or two, another wick go down to like 6,000, we're all going to be like, well, what happened here? You know what I mean? So we can't sit here and blame, Binance US. We can't blame all the, we can't blame them for this is what happened. We got to take responsibility for it, and also, continue to keep educating ourselves. And that's kind of how I feel about the whole situation. Is, I understand that a lot of people got liquidated, and yeah, it probably didn't feel good to do something or to have your money on Binance US during that time and to lose out like that. I get it. Should there be safeguards for something like this? Perhaps, but again, uh, mistakes happen. And so learn those lessons, move forward. There's an abundance here in crypto. So that's kind of my take on this whole situation.
Absolutely. And they're learning lessons. I think we've all made mistakes. I know that, the other day I meant to put in a short, put in a long, and almost got liquidated. Things happen. That's one of the risks that come along with, doing your own crypto. Like you're in charge of your own financial destiny. Do it cautiously, right? That's it. And always do your own research. All right. So Meet Kevin tweeted Binance.us had a lack of liquidity crash this morning. Bitcoin fell to 8,200 for 1 minute. Explained on YouTube it was not a glitch per a confidential source. Now, Stash, for
Yeah.
anyone that's new here, anyone that's new that's listening, what does that mean? What is a lack of liquidity flash crash?
So essentially, there wasn't enough Bitcoin to go around. There's not enough liquid Bitcoin, and so it's one of those things where we're never really going to know. The exchange tells us it's one thing, and there's not a really great way for us to know exactly what happens. They claim it's a glitch. I mean, in my opinion, I don't know, man. That seems a little bit too convenient, right? Because if you admit that it was a lack of liquidity or a liquidity problem on your exchange, what does that do? Like, I feel like a glitch to people, oh, you could fix a glitch, right? The confidence level is still there, that they trusted the exchange, that it was something temporary that's not going to happen again. But if it's something like a flash crash like this, where they literally just don't have enough liquidity in the platform, it's going to scare investors away. People are not wanting to go and put longs or shorts on any kind of cryptocurrency in the platform for fear it's going to happen again, because that's the biggest thing that to come away from this. I feel bad for all the people who had any kind of leveraged position on this exchange, because now they got stopped out, and that's it, man. There's people that are getting called on this stuff. So those are the people who are really being affected by this. And I do think that Binance US does need to own up a little bit on this. If in particular, if it's a glitch. Now, if it has to do with liquidity, I could see them taking a little bit less blame there. But like I said, it's kind of a balancing act, right? If you admit that it was low liquidity, then there's probably less confidence in your platform at this point. If it is a glitch, then it's like, well, you should definitely be taking some sort of responsibility for this. A glitch in your platform, with one of your traders or one of your institutions, happen to cause this, then that is your responsibility.
Yeah,
100%.
that's crazy, man. Mr. Ruthless Records, let me tell you something, bro. That was all about no liquidity. Flat out. I build algorithms, I program algorithms, been doing it for years in FX and now in cryptos. That was not a script or one of their clients going, one of their algos going awry. No, it was a
Smells
structural
fishy.
issue with the liquidity, and it just exposes that no one is over there trading on Binance.us. That's what it is, flat out.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad that you jumped in right there, because I love, when it becomes more of a discussion and something like that. But my next question was going to be basically that to you, because, Binance.us said that was one of their institutional traders, that they had a bug in their trading algo and it appears to cause the sell-off. But so what is Binance.us, what should be their response in this? Should they take more ownership? Should they say, hey, I don't even know if
they're not gonna. Yeah, the right response will be detrimental to their marketing campaigns and their image, right? Optically, they can't say, oh yeah, we just didn't have enough liquidity. Sorry, guys. So that's going to drive, that's a feedback loop. That's going to drive people away from the exchange if they know that there's not a sufficient liquidity there to hold the market up, within their platform. So they have to save face. They got to say what they said, man. They got to lie. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah,
But it was all liquidity. It was illiquid
that's how I
markets.
feel.
That's what it was. Yep.
And that's what I'm saying. That it's one of those. It's a double-edged sword right here. I think that they took the least sharp edge, and they're like, all right, let's just go with it. It's a bug, guys. They'll believe that shit. If they believe China banned Bitcoin 50 times already, they'll definitely believe this, guys. Just run with the story.
Everybody's believed every excuse that every exchange is given for whether it's a hack or whatever the situation might be. But I really feel like this is an exchange failure. I really feel like there should have been protocols and security put in place as well. So I'm not going to completely blame this 100% on the user. But another thing that no one's really even mentioned yet that I want to highlight is that they said that this has occurred more frequently in recent days, with Bitstamp also seeing freak order book events as well. So, I mean, ultimately, we know that what's going on in the exchanges is very similar to how the fractional reserve banking works, where there's basically not all the Bitcoins that are being traded are on those exchanges. And if like a strong percentage of the clients and customers on these exchanges were to withdraw their funds, it would be the same thing as what happens to the banks. They would just end up falling under, and that would be it.
Well, it should be that. If that's the case, it shouldn't be, man. That is definitely not how it's supposed to work.
I agree.
Absolutely. Joe, let me ask you a question. Do you do any leverage trading?
So I'm like not a leverage trader at all. And again, I kind of went the opposite direction with this question. I know that, after hearing the rest of the panelists, give their opinions, I totally understand that if this was an issue with Binance US specifically, like they did something or it was a glitch or whatnot, then yes, 100% they need to own up to that. But I'm always for the user to be paying attention to what they're doing and take responsibility for their actions, right? Somebody pushed a sell button somewhere, right? That's my understanding of this. And so because they did that, there are consequences and actions to doing that. And so again, we don't know all of the fine details because they haven't really exposed all of it, because if they did, then I mean that might not look good for Binance US. But my thing is that we have to take responsibility for what we're doing here in cryptocurrency. And if a freak accident like this happens, then it does. You know what I mean? Like, and it's crazy. I understand. And for the people who got liquidated, is it fair? Probably not. No, it probably is not fair. That being said, that's the risk that you run when you put your money on the line as a leveraged trader. And again, I understand that a lot of people can make a lot of money leverage trading. That's something that I personally don't do. I wear the hoodie. It says right here, just hodl it at the bottom there. I don't know if any of you guys can see that or not. But I am a hodler, man. And the reason why is because it's the people who are the most patient and are willing to go through the ups and downs, delay gratification. Typically, those are the ones in the long run who end up winning. And that to me is a lot less stress too, right? If you're just sitting here
Yeah.
hodling on, hanging on for the next 5 or 10 years, life is good, man. We're enjoying all-time highs. We're not sitting here worried about a flash crash on Binance US and getting liquidated, right? But yeah, I mean, look, it's risk reward. I do feel for everyone that was involved, obviously, but that's just kind of my understanding and take of this whole situation.
Well, that is great to hear. I know, Stash, you don't leverage trade, so Joe, you don't. Rice, do you leverage trade? You're muted.
Oh, you muted, buddy.
Yeah, no, I do not. I do
Okay.
not leverage trade.
What about you?
But I did want to ask.
Yes,
CB.
of course.
CB, is it possible that this could happen on a DEX?
Can
an algo
No, I don't think
have
so.
a glitch? So again, this just does
No,
it
I don't
points out
think
another
so.
failure. It points out another failure to the centralization as well. Just want
So,
to point that out because I am
True.
a defender
Yeah.
of decentralization.
So
Right.
Rice, you basically took my job there. So next Friday you're going to come here and host in Georgia. Because I'd
love to do that.
I was fishing with each one of you to see who does leverage trade, because what I want to
Yeah, I
ask.
leverage.
Oh, so Blood,
Blood's the only degenerate here, man. He's the only degenerate.
Only
among us.
Okay,
DGen.
I'm right there with
The
you, man.
D doesn't stand for Detroit. It stands for DGen.
D is DGen.
So Blood. So besides, because that was going to be my question to you, is like, okay, so if you're on a centralized exchange, there's going to be a lot more problems that can happen than on a DEX. With that being said, what kind of advice would you give to leverage traders to combat getting liquidated on a freak accident, something like this? Is it, hey, just stay on a DEX, or what do you got for them?
No, to my understanding, the DEX I don't know if they have leverage on DEX yet. I know there was one project that was working on something like that, DYDX or something like that. But I would say only leverage trade like 10% of your account for that very reason. Because even if you have a stop loss in a scenario where we saw on Binance.us, a stop loss doesn't guarantee that it protects your trade, right? It just means that it will try to do a market order once that price is hit. So that doesn't even protect you. So it's inherent risk that you're going to have when you're margin trading. So that's why I say just trade 10% or less of your total portfolio if you're going to be, a DGen or a D boy, right?
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.